picture was taken in 1959. I was in Moscow. Nixon, who was vice president at the time, was on a state visit to the Soviet Union, and so I took the opportunity of joining the press corps that followed him around. They were grandstanding, Nixon and Khrushchev. They were just sort of playing for their audience. Nixon was saying that we Americans eat meat while you Russians eat cabbage. It was just a way of Nixon saying that we're well off, we're rich, and you're miserable and you're poor. The Russians have 2 parades a year where they display their might. May Day, which is the Workers' Day, and the Revolution. I happened to be there for the latter one. I was well positioned by virtue of going through 3 rings of security together with a Soviet TV crew. Somehow I blended in. I must have been badly dressed or something. Sportswomen was one of the pictures taken there. At the beginning of the parade, they display their military might, and then they have the spontaneous workers' parade. The spontaneous parade generally lasted 5 hours. Nothing spontaneous about it, of course. In 1964, I went to Cuba for about a week or 10 days. I spent in Havana. I spent them with Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. It was fascinating. Fidel Castro, he liked to be photographed, like any celebrity, I think. I can sort of compare them to cowboys. They were affable, pleasant, interesting, and very photogenic, as you will see. Yeah, especially Che. I would say he was the Marilyn Monroe of the period. He seemed to be in a good mood, as I remember. He even gave me a box of cigars, which I did not bring into the United States because it was prohibited. I regret the box of cigars. Well, he's a charming man. I mean, apart from what he did or didn't do, there's many people who have doubtful backgrounds and doubtful histories. Face to face, they can be quite charming and accessible and interesting. Baseball is very big in Cuba, and this was a baseball game. It's kind of interesting in this picture. It's a special section for VIPs. Unfortunately, I didn't get to photograph it, but Fidel was along on this visit to the baseball game. And they stopped everything and let him pitch a few, and the throws were not very strong. I didn't speak so much, I listened more. I mean, photographers shouldn't get in the way of things. I hope that I was an observer rather than a participant.